record today, right? How to use it, what are migrations, and all the amazing, cool, smooth, pretty things that happen in Active Record that automatically happen for you. So first thing you get when you get a new application is you want to go through all the files, right? So I did this the other day, right? We have apps, models. I just built some stuff in here already so you have an idea and understanding. I probably should have took it out, but what are these? They're just Ruby classes, right? That represent models within my domain, right? This is a what kind of relationship? Which one's the join table? Right? Is join table make more sense now?
Yes.
Right? Thanks to like the SQL? Cool. Let's talk about this environment file. Remember, bundler is just a gem management tool. Talked a little bit about last time. All this is going to do is going to go into what file? It's going to go into your gem file, right? And it's going to look at all of these gems and require them for you. Last time we did this, we had 2 gem files, so it didn't really do that much work for us. But now that we see we have a total of 6 gems, it's so much easier than writing require and then each individual one, right? It's a pain. This is new syntax, right? Something called active record, right? Why does this exist in this file right now? Why do I have something called active record as a class or module or a constant? Why?
You ran bundler.require.
Yes. Why is it that like when I get to this file, something like active record constant doesn't exist? Like I never actually ever did, right? Like this equals to like something. So how come this exists? Or I never said class active record. Because it's in one of the gems. I did not inherit it. There's a slight difference in like the meaning of those words, and I'll dig into that in a little bit. But it's because in my gem file, I'm pulling something called active record, right? This gives me access to this person's code. Somebody wrote like a class or a module active record, and then I installed it, and then I required it here. So now I have access to all of that active record code. Is everyone following so far?
Yeah.
Is there like a standard of like gems that are generally in everything?
Not in standard Ruby, but there will be in something called Sinatra and Rails, which you'll learn in Mod 2. There will be a standard gem package that you can add on to, but it will be like at least 30 or 40 gems.
Those are just what Sinatra and Rails need to.
Yeah, it's what Sinatra and Rails will depend on to run properly. Yeah, and you'll learn more about that in 1 and 2. Great question. Anything else? So far, so good? So all this is doing is active record seems to be some sort of class or module. I can't tell from here directly, but in this namespace, there is some sort of class or module called base that is inside of active record. This is the only thing you kind of need to understand about inheritance, but again, not diving too deep, right? Just that base is defined inside active record. That's all. There's a method called establish connection, and it takes in some parameters, right? I have an adapter. I'm telling it what type of, I guess, SQL language I'm using. No, SQL database I'm using.
Yes, database.
Yeah, I'm using SQLite 3. Mike Chang talked about some of the other ones like MySQL, Oracle, which is like amazing and awesome and pretty good, I guess. And then where am I going to put that file, right? I'm going to put it in my DB folder, and I'm going to name it something called development.SQLite.
So if you were to create your own database, you would put that there.
Yeah, if I wanted to like name a file something else, I would just name it something else, right? This right here is going to log and print to the terminal all of my active record commits or saves. Anytime I touch the database, it's going to print it out to something known as standard out. It's going to print it to the terminal. And that will make more sense as we see it. So just understand that this right here is anytime I use active record, It's going to put something back to the terminal and tell me if it's good or not. Okay? And then this does something called require all. And what require all will do is it'll take everything inside my app folder, right? And it will require it. So what's currently inside my app folder? My classes, right? So again, config requires all my gems, gives me the database, and requires all my models. So config will give me access to everything, right? This is essentially the souped up version of the combo file.
What's key?
What?
You have your class and your models. You have something
.keep, that is it's a hidden folder, it's a hidden file that I'll tell you about more offline because I don't want to go in that rabbit hole. But good question. Awesome. So in DB, we have a folder called migrate, and that is just going to hold all of your migrations. I'm going to go into what migrations are here in a little bit, but that's just so you understand that, yeah? This is just my SQLite folder, my file, right? Looks pretty familiar, very readable. And schema. I'm going to talk about schema, right, as it pertains to Ruby code. What did I define schema as for you before?
Drawing of all relationships.
It is what I pointed to when I defined it, when I pointed to the drawing. I said it was a visual representation of your database, right? Which can be in a horrible whiteboard web app drawing, or it can be in like ASCII art, like I did the other day, which was yesterday. Which feels like really long ago, right? Okay, cool. The gem file we all know. So I'm going to be using a couple gems today. I'm not going to dig into it too much. If you want to, please Google them. I'm using something called Active Record, which we'll talk about a lot. There are different versions of Active Record. We will be using the Sinatra version of Active Record. The one you will be learning and using the most will be the Rails version. Sinatra is just a little bit lighter. It has less methods, and it's a better teaching tool to ramp you up. Fair? We talked about rake, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit again. Require all is just like a saver to require all the files quickly, as you've seen in require all app. SQLite 3 is the database we're using, and of course our favorite debugging tool. Questions so far? Miriam? Head nod's good, right? So, in here, again, I'm pulling in everything, and then I'm requiring something known as Sinatra Active Record Rake. What do you think this will do for me? Huh? Again, I'm in my rake file. What do you think this will do for me? Just a wild guess.
Doesn't rake run all commands that you put in the rake file?
Rake will run commands that I put in the rake file, yes. Rake, for those that studied any computer science, is like a Ruby version of what C, the programming language, has called make. So if that made any sense to you, I hope it did. If not, rake for Ruby. Rake for Ruby. Yeah? All it does is it runs Ruby for you. And I will show you exactly what that means. Yeah? So, if I'm requiring this, I'm getting what? Everything that's inside Sinatra Active Record Rake. So, do you remember how the other day I defined a new rake task? And it was something like I don't know, dog or something like that. And then I just did puts, and I was like bork, 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 bork. Do you remember that? Okay, and then if I run rake dog, it's just gonna go bork, bork. Right? So let's do that. Look. A little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, so you can see it better. All the colors of the rainbow. Yeah? So I can do rake dog, and it should just do bork, bork. Yeah? And again, if I did rake console, what would it do for me? Just going to start a price session, right? But more importantly, it's going to start a price session right here with everything that I already have. Because remember, config environment pulls in everything. All my models, migrations, my database, everything. So when I start pry here, I will have access to all the data in my application. Yeah? Awesome. And here's a very long README. So this is what I just tried to cover here, and the file structure. Any questions so far? Cool. So the first thing I want to teach you, all right, is about rake and what rake can do. Rake, you can always check how many tasks should I see if I call in rake tasks? 2, right? Let's see if you're right. You're wrong. Why?
Sinatra.
Yes, I'm doing something called require Sinatra active record rake. So, rake console is one I made, right? And rake dog is the one I made, which probably should be like Borker. Borking machine, right? And that's just going to change the description. That's all right? So we could see that. If you don't like typing out the dash dash task, you can always put 1 dash and just slam this capital T, and it'll be the same. Yeah? See, now I see Borking machine under my description for rake dog. If you did do some of the labs, this DB is what is known as a namespace, and all it does is it prepends anything you want prior to any of these. So if I did some sort of namespace like Wangtron, it would be Wangtron console and then Wangtron dog. So you could see here that there's some sort of namespace DB. That means that everything from Sinatra active record rake will have DB as a prefix to the actual task, which I will have to actually type out. So if I wanted to run something like rake db create migration, I will have to type out the DB. This is like easy to break into sections what something does. Like if I had more gems in here, I would have like a rake Wangtron colon and then mine. So I can see it different from all of the Sinatra active record rake stuff, right? It's just like think of it as like a prefix.
How would you write the namespace in the right column?
There's a lab for that. And I don't want to cut you off. Like it's not worth the lecture time. Yeah? Any questions? So, of the people that went through the active record labs, who can try to tell me, or the class, what is a migration? Cool. Right?
So we're gonna automate.
I'm listening. Huh?
Isn't it just the process of bringing all of your information into the database, and then when you make a rake task for it, the copy
You want to bring what now?
all of your set up the database with the tables and columns. It's like a version.
No. Bundler's version control. You're very close. So who remembers when I said like these weird letters ORM? What does ORM stand for? Object Relational Mapper, right? So what it's going to try to do is it's going to use your Ruby code and touch the database. Who enjoyed writing self.all and then that SQL here doc and then mapping through every single one of them, creating new instances, and then returning all the instances connected to the SQL database? Who enjoyed that?
Thankful, I like it.
So for those that don't like pain, probably the rest of us, you didn't, right? So what the migration will do is it will do that for you, right? It will map your SQL to your Ruby model or your class, right? So it would make sense that your migration will be reflective of a table name in your SQL database, right? So if I wanted to connect something like, I don't know, a tree model, what should I name the table?
Trees.
Trees, right? Because That makes sense. I was trying to do it like all sexy smooth like Bruno Mars, and then I was like, I'm not Filipino and I don't have the pipes for it. But yeah, that makes sense, right? So think about that. If I have a model, I'm going to have a extremely similarly named table. Except, what did I say about tables? Are they plural or are they singular?
Tables are singular.
Tables are plural,
Models classes are singular.
classes are singular. So, with those rules, class is singular, tables are plural, there seems to be some sort of pattern here, right? So if I'm going to make a table, I'm going to make it plural. If I'm going to make class, I'm going to make it singular. And I'm going to make it the same, all right? You can't just tack on the S at the end. It's not going to work. Like, dog and dogs work. But fish and fishes do not. Doesn't not, right? No, fish is singular, fishes is plural. Nice try. Fishies, right? Fish is also plural, right? But you know what's not? Goose. Right? Goose and geese. You can't have gooses. Right? So it doesn't always work with just the S at the end. There is an amazing method that Active Record will give you. It's called pluralize. So if you're ever not sure, you can call .pluralize, and it will make it plural for you. Right? All the normal English pluralizations have been accounted for, except for weird ones. Like if you ever, like what's the plural of dove? Doves, right? What's the singular of dove? Wrong. Dofe. D-O-F-E. Right? Call singularize on D-O-V-E and just see what happens.
Wait, what? How is done?
Exactly. It's wrong. Doesn't always work. So if your migrations and your models don't match, call singularize on the word and call pluralize on the word and just see what it returns, see what it's going to be looking for. And that's going to make more sense here in a little bit. So first thing I want to do is the create migration. Again, it's going to create that table for you. It's going to touch the database, and it's going to map it to your Ruby. So if it's going to map to your Ruby, what should I need? If I'm going to map a table like trees, I need what model? The tree model, right? So let's start. How do I make a tree model? Probably in my models folder, right? Let's do that. What do we want to call it? Very good. Trees or tree? Smart. Very smart, right? And how do we do this? All right, cool. Tree, a little bit of this, end, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this, end tree class. All right? So far, so good? Nice. What else do we need? Huh? Do we need all that? I heard a lot of things, but my favorite thing was something about inheriting what? Active record base. Base. Because I'm all about that base. Alright? I like my beats fast and my bass down low. Good. Alright, so it's okay, don't worry, it's a weird song. So active record base. What is this? Huh? Huh?
You're having the tree class inherit the methods from active record base.
Yes, I'm having the tree class inherit from something called active record base, right? This is what I'm talking about by the auto magic, and I will show you later on. For right now, I want to leave this tree model alone, right? So what does this tree model relate to? What is its best friend? Right? What? Squirrel? Well, we'll start with squirrel, right? So what do we do? Class squirrel, right? And we inherit from Cool. Right? That's all I need right now. Ah, messing up my shortcuts. Cool. So what else do I need?
John.
Huh?
Data nest.
I need my nest, right? Why? Nests or nest?
Nest.
Singular, plural?
Singular.
Smart. So smart. So smart. Cool. So right now I have all my models that I need for this many-to-many. For right now, just like pretend we went back in time, before the many-to-many, what was that relationship that I taught you? One-to-many. So which one-to-many would you like? Would you like the tree and the nest, or would you like the squirrel and the nest? Squirrel and the nest it is. It's just more fun, you know? Squirrels are cool. So we have the squirrel and the nest. Yeah?
Yep.
So now that I have my model, right, I have my class that stores all of my data, now I need that SQL database, right? I'm going to create that SQL database through the migration. So in order to make it, I'm probably going to need to make a migration. Ah, I hate when it does that. So which one of these will create my migration? The second one, create.
Create migration.
Right, array start at 0. So if this is the second one, then you're right, Johnny. Create a migration. Programming humor. So let's do it. I'm going to do rake db create migration. If I don't know how to use it, migration, or if I ever forget, migration gives you one of the best error messages I've ever seen in my entire life. So let's find out. It says no name specified. Example usage. Oh, this is so money. Right? Rake db create migration. This is the name of the table that I want. And I'm going to create this migration called create users. But is it really users here? What do we want to create the table of? Squirrels. S or no S?
S.
Yeah? Because the table is?
Plural.
Cool. So let's find out.
Yo, what's going on Saturday? What's
There-
happening Saturday?
There's a very cool event happening Saturday.
Can you go?
Ooh!
Who's going to be here for that? Nobody's going to be here for that?
I'm going to be here, so if you want to hang out with me,
Tell me that there's not a single person in here that's going to be here on Saturday.
I'll be here. Cool. What are you guys winning?
I don't know what you had.
so mod 1
They're
was
doing that
unable
afterwards, right?
to participate. Yeah.
That's fine. You should still come in. It's going to be a great time, and you'll probably be ready for it.
What is it?
Oh, let me pause this real quick. Let me hit this with the pause. I'm recording this.
Sorry.
No, you.
So, as you know, on Saturday, we are going to have a field day. If you haven't heard about it yet, I understand this cohort joined right after the announcements and sign-ups happened. However, you
How do
should
I-
definitely come, show support, get involved, at least see what it looks like. Why? Because throughout your career as a developer or even as a student, you will probably be attending hackathons.
So I check my DB. What's this? I have this new file, right? And it's all these weird numbers, and it's like create squirrels. Yeah, that's all that did for me. Right? It was a rake task that made a file for me. So that's like the power of rake, right? Rake executes Ruby. And it gave me some starter code. Some of that starter code is just a class called create squirrels. This squirrels right here is going to be looking for a model called squirrel. All right, this table is going to link to a model called squirrel, all right, based on the discussion that we had. That's why it's looking for it, all right, because of the ORM. It's trying to map this database to a model. It's pulling something from active record migration, which means that it's going to have all of these methods in it. That's all you really need to know about that. There's a method called change, which is the initial method. And change allows you to do whatever it is that you want to do with these migrations. So the first thing we want to do in the migration is we want to create the table, right? Because you can't insert into a table that doesn't make sense, that doesn't exist yet. That don't make no sense, right? So let's do it. What's the syntax for creating a table? If I was a developer, and I was like, I need to create syntax to create a table, I'd probably call it like, I don't know, create table. Yeah? And then I would want to feed it the table name. So what is the table name that we want to feed it? Cool. All right, and I want it to do something. This right here is just like what we've seen before, right? This do end block combo, and I'm passing in a particular object. This particular object is going to be in reference to my table, right? So the first thing I want to do is say that this table will have a string, and that string, right, the text field in the SQL is going to be a name column. That's what it looks like. Because I'm lazy and table's a long word to spell, I'm going to call it T. So this is how you will see it normally. If you ever forget, right, what we could think about is this T is coming from where? This create table method, right? In the same way that map, select, collect, find, sort, right, takes in the parameter and it comes from that method. T.string, I'm telling it what type of value it's going to be. I can easily do something like T.integer, right? And then pass it like how many or something like that, right? Like the column value. Doesn't really matter. This is the name of the column, right? So this is going to be name for now, and it's going to be string for now. If you ever forget and you just don't really remember how it works, I'm calling T.string. I'm calling table.string. What is this? Is this a custom parameter, or is this like something that's kind of pre-built in to Ruby? The name column. Is this something that I made up, or is it something that Ruby knows about? Right? Versus string, which is something I made up or something Ruby knows about. So, would it be possible for a developer to, on this table block, program every single custom name attribute that could ever exist? Like if I put t.name and I'm like, oh, just kidding, that's actually going to be a string. No, because then I would be calling a custom attribute on the T block, and that shouldn't work because there's no way I could have programmed all of that in there. So on the table block, on the T, it should be like, you know, like date, all right, or integer, right, or string, because those are built-in Ruby things, right? And then here I'm going to pass in the custom name block, right, that custom column for my table. So right now, all I have in my table is a name column. So far, so good.
Do you need to create the integer primary key column?
An integer primary key? No. Auto magic, right? If I'm always going to make it every single time, I'm probably going to have under the hood in my create table like a primary key that's automatically included. Very good question.
The T.string thing there, you said that, and there's the date integer. Is that a list of?
Yes, there are a list. I would look up active record migrations, and I would put like table block or create table for active record migration, and then I'd be able to look up all the parameters for table. There are several of them, yes. Bad question, by the way. That's a good question. Good question.
That just creates one column.
That creates one column.
So is it a comma and then you just do t.integer age?
No. If I wanted to, I could just do another one. And then what else? What other attributes does a scroll have?
Color.
The furriness.
That's silly because it's always true. You know that. Silly Sebastian. Yeah? Do you want to do this? Want to go hard? Not today. Not today. But we can though if we wanted to. Do you guys want to go hard? All right. Sure. Fine. No, you don't need a comma. You just give it another block. It will know. Any other questions?
Is change a built-in entity? Initializer?
Yes. Right when I created the migration, change came with it. Right? And what change is going to do is a long time ago in the land of Yore, 5,000 years ago, before 5.2 came out, when we were on like, I think 3 or 4 possibly, there was something called up and down. Up would add things like create a table or like add columns to your database, but there would be times where you no longer wanted to track color. You were like, you know what, they're all gray. Who cares? Right? Or you added furry, but it's always true. So you wanted to get rid of that column. You would run something called down, and then you would remove the column of like color or furriness. And I will show you how to do that later. But change does both, right? Based on the parameters you feed it. You can just tell it, hey, I want more or I want less, and change will handle that for you. So you will no longer see up and down, but if you ever see up and down, just know that change is the adder accessor for the adder writer reader, which is up and down.
Alright, then I have a question. So you're saying if I was to break these two, take these two columns, and then I wanted to know along the color, I would just do it again without color?
No, I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
Any questions so far on this migration? Cool. So there's something I want to show you, right? There is a development.sqlite database. If I ever wanted to, do you remember when I talked about primary keys, right? And how if I deleted like the first one, primary key 1 will never exist ever again?
Right.
If you ever wanted one to ever exist, the only way to do it is you got to blow the database away. It's the only way. Should I do it?
No. Come back over on this side.
Yo, whatever. Bam! Gone. Right? Gone.
You had so much to live for.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, cool. All right. I think I made a boo-boo.
I told you not to.
I had the old migrations. It's fine. It's fine. We'll make it work. We're gonna debug it live. Debug it live. We'll just do it live. That being said, there's also something called the schema, right? Remember I said it was a visual representation of your data? The schema will be automatically generated whenever you run your migrations. It will automatically generate when you run your migrations. Meaning, if I wanted to, just blow that away. This is probably gonna go poorly. So we'll see. But it's cool. Let's do it. How do I run my migrations? How would I run my migrations? Wow, lucky guess. Incredible. Break, DB, migrate. God, please. Lord Jesus. Oh. Nice.
Somebody like looking over this lecture and then just like
So, what's that? Oh, bam, it's back. So was my schema. Super cool. 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 Right? Again, very human readable, as normal, as expected. And here, interesting. I have a table called squirrels, and I have 2 columns in there, name and color. It's built for me. More importantly, it tells me what version this is. So I didn't really tell you what the numbers are, and I will now. This right here looks like what? right? And what does this look like? Exactly what time it is in seconds, right? But like, I guess milliseconds for whatever reason. Like, it includes like the hour. So, if it includes the exact time I made it, you can then infer that my migrations will always be in the order that I create them, right? So if I made this migration, this squirrels migration, and then I make a nest migration, what order will they always be in? Squirrels, then nests, right? Squirrels, then nests. The order of your migrations are extremely important, and I will go into that. Remember, this is just a timestamp, and it tells me when I made it, and the order matters. So, I'm in my schema. If I ever want to know what migration I'm currently on, I can check the version, right? So, if I ever want to go back, let's say I made a typo, right? And I did something weird, right? Instead of color, I spelled it this way. Whatever. This is America. But let's just say I did that, right? And I wanted to go back and change it. How would I go back and change it to a previous version? What command would I use? You guys are just such lucky guessers. It's bizarre. Rake db what? Yo, one hop. So it dropped the table, right? So my schema is now version 0, and there's no tables that exist. Yeah? So that's what rollback is doing. It will roll back one migration at a time. So, what else do we need besides the squirrels? Yeah, but before we get to the tree, we need the nest. So let's do it. How would I make a new migration? How would I create a new migration? Huh?
Migration name.
Name equals create. It's up here, in case you forgot. Create nests or nest. Right, that's how I got the S on my name. So, thank you for that. I needed it. And what did it do? It ran a rake task that made a file for me. And where is it? In db migrate. So I'm just going to go into db migrate. Found it. And as promised, it's right there.
So I have a order of migration. That if the nest table requires the tree and squirrel ID, then like wouldn't you have to create the tree table first?
You are the brightest witch of your age. No, so check it out. The question is, the nests know about what two models? The tree and the...
It's on your side.
Okay? That was impressive, right? It took like 9 people to figure that out. So, right. The question is, why would I make the nests here now if I only have the squirrels table, if I need the squirrels and the nests to exist? What a great question. And I talked about how order matters. Right now, in this realm, right? This is gonna, yeah, tree doesn't exist, right? That I know that was in the recording, but tree doesn't exist. You want to go home and rethink your life. You don't want to sell me tree sticks, right? So right now we only know about the squirrel, we only know about the nest, right? So, a little bit of this. Oh, sorry, not this one. This one, nest, right? What table do I want to call this? All right, and what does the nest have? It has the foreign key, right? Of what? So, yeah? Right, and is it a string? All right, and I'm calling it again on the T block. Yeah? So, let's pray that it works, because that's what good developers do.
So
that scroll underscore ID is already been created because we created squirrels migration and it exists in the database.
No, I'm literally making it right now. Yeah? Cool. So, how do I migrate? Yeah? Create migration, believe it or not, creates the migration. If I want to migrate, I have to run a command called migrate.
That makes sense.
Yeah, words mean things. So, it made this, right? Create a table squirrels, create a table nest. How can I very quickly check a visual representation of my data and my table? So I'm just gonna check my schema. And look, there it is. I have two tables. Bam. Just like that. So, that being said, I have a nest class, I have a squirrel class, I have my migrations, and I ran my migrations. What now? That's right, test. Haven't heard me say that in a long time, huh? Forgot? I know. Ask me some questions, and you're like, this doesn't work. I was like, don't forget, I taught you about binding, right? No? Cool. How would I get into a console with all of my data? It's like you're learning. Right? And what should I have access to? What about tree? Right? Because I may or may not have blasted it away, right? So what can I do? Can I do this?
Yes.
What does it need again? To do it this way. Lame Yoki. Alright, and what else? Color? What's your favorite color, team? That's right. Power Ranger red. That's my favorite color. Crayola makes a lot of money on it. Oh, what is this? What do you want? Oh, do I have to force it to be a hash? Does it not know? I think it.
Extra space. Does the equals greater than matter have space between?
Oh, this one, right? Yeah, that was bizarre. Sorry. Thank you. Doing it live. Yeah. So I have a name and I have a color, and this squirrel now exists, right? Why is this ID nil? Because it does not exist in my database. I never ran a command called what? Save. I never saved it to my database. It only exists in Rubyland. It never touched the database. All right? I just created a brand new instance. You know this. All right? And just like our old friend, I can do what? Yeah? So what is S1? So I can do this. Can I? It's so weird because I've never defined that method save in here. Yes. So the only thing you need to know about inheritance is I'm inheriting methods from Active Record Base. Congratulations. You finished the labs. Yeah?
So the programmers now?
No. You're developers. 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 All right. So I can hit save, and what will happen? True?
Good.
So now S1 will have a ID. Right? Who likes that all method?
I like the element.
I like it all.
Me too. Done. It's built for you. Isn't that crazy? I wrote 0 code in this class. Remember last week, but I was all like, oh, guys, you got to build that select, you got to build that find, right? What if I wanted to, I don't know, find, right? It's going to give me that, right? What's this? Find by? You want to find it by the name? Cool, sure. Lei Miyoki, that was a great name. Give me that. Wild. Again, Active Record's the car. You just need to know what's happening under the hood. You don't need to understand how the transmission connects to the engine block that powers the vehicle. All right, you don't need to know about the axles or any of that. You call AAA. You know what I'm saying? Just basic debugging. Yeah? Cool.
How do you see all the methods that are available to you in Active Record for that class?
How do I see all the methods that Active Record gives me? I'd probably ask my good friend. I'd probably ask him like Active Record methods. It's probably the right question. Yeah? All right. So, great question though. Actually, it was. My answer, however, probably wasn't very good.
Sometimes there's this thing where it shows you all the methods, like you showed us before.
Like dot methods that I showed you before?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll play. All right. You guys are great. How would I now create a relationship between squirrel, right? If I want to know, right, this squirrel, right, I want to know its tree. I just want to like find all the trees for this squirrel. You guys know how to write it in Ruby, right? We did a little bit of this action. Did a little bit of this nonsense. I'm sorry, not tree. I meant nest. All right. What did we do? We did a little bit of this, a little bit of nests. All right. We did something obnoxious, like we went through what? Nest.all, .select, do, right? And for some reason, some of you like this. I've seen it. I swear. All right. I don't even know what is. All right. I can't do this. I'm sorry. I can't do this. It's a nest, right? Words mean things. So nests, right? In the nest, there's some sort of what squirrel object, right? And check to see if it's me. Yeah? This is why I tested you on this. I want this method to work. Is anyone following so far? Cool. This will only work if what? If I make a nest. All right? So like nest.new. Some of you were like, how can I combine new and save into one mega method? Yeah? And what are the parameters for this nest? Huh? And it's a string or number? Yeah? So what I want, right, is notice how the ID already exists, right? It was saved to the database. So if I exit this pry session, will I see that nest? Active record, right? Wild. If I want to see...
Change the database.
Huh?
You change the database. You create.
I changed the database to create?
With the create method, you altered the values of the database.
Yes, remember, new just makes the instance in Ruby, save pushes it. Oh wait, I mean, do you want to run this? Very good, very good, very good. Eddie's Warriors. Great, so new just creates the instance in Ruby, save will push it to the database. Create is new and save. All right, for those that don't know, git pull does a git fetch and a git merge, which is why it happens immediately. Just fun facts. Anyways, guess it wasn't that fun. So I want to be able to see like my nests. I want that to work. Let's try something wild, right? Let's try something wild. What is the relationship between squirrel and nests? Squirrel what nests? Has many what? Okay, cool. Who has gotten this far? Inactive record. All right. Sorry, I was like zoned out for a second. What the? What about nests, right? Oh, sorry, just kidding. Nest. Remember, class is singular, right? Don't make those boo-boos. All right, and I want to know the squirrels. Is this gonna run? Will it run? Who says yes? Maybe. Who says no? Why yes? May.
You already set up the relationship once.
I definitely set up the relationship between squirrel and nest. So if you ever are like, Evans, this is really annoying. Why did I not say squirrel has many nests, but nest? Right. So, nest must. Right? This is when the clap happens, right? Like, this is like the moment. Like, no? Okay. So the reason I always ask you for the full relationship is because you must build both sides of the relationship. Before I put that the nest belonged to the squirrel, I could not pull the squirrel that owned that nest. I could not do it. Once I established the belongs to, it worked. I must write both. The squirrel has many nests, and the nest belongs to the squirrel. All right? I have to write both. So when I was like asking you during the assessment, during the one-on-ones, I'm always like, tell me about the relationship. And you just do it one way, and I'm like, okay, the whole thing. And then like you have to connect both ends. I do it for this. I do it for ire. What's up?
So with when you write out belongs to and has many, with has many, I'm assuming you have one part, plural, and then.
So here's the thing. I ask you a question. In English, this reads better, right? If it belongs to, it should be singular. If I put S here, I have to put S here. It will, in fact, work, unfortunately. The convention and the correct code is belongs to singularizes, all right? And the has many pluralizes. We'll refer to the multiple. Janai, 1 second.
So, when you're modeling a relationship without a joint table like we were doing with books and authors a couple days ago, it's valid to put has many on both sides.
Easy. 1 second. We haven't got there yet, but we will. I promise. All right? Hop on the back. The promised land's on the way.
All right.
Good question. If I don't answer it, ask again.
What does it know to grab? Okay, so what you just said, you can go either squirrel or squirrel. It's going to be anything.
If I what now?
Okay, you said it could work either the symbol squirrel or the symbol square. The other one, right?
Yeah, this one.
So does that mean it's arbitrary, or will it only work with those two options?
I believe in the new
Like it detects
active record, yeah, it detected.
So you
It
couldn't do a different spelling of squirrel.
no, I couldn't do square real.
So it would
No.
detect. So what about like?
It's looking for the model.
Pluralized come in?
Right. It will look for both, unfortunately.
Two children and child and children.
Yes. The thing is, I believe this is in the newer active record base. If you did it in old Sinatra, and like, right now it's on Rails 5, Rails version 5. If you did it in Rails 4, and you put a, mega bless, if you put a plural on a belongs to, it doesn't work. I think it works. Let's find out. You know what? Doesn't take too long, right? To test. I could be wrong. Oh, it doesn't work. Just kidding. They fixed it.
So,
It was working at some point, and then they just removed it.
but, so if your class is called child, could you do it with either children or childs?
If it belongs to, it should be the singular.
Let's say it has many childs. Would it want you to be childs or children?
I would put children, and if it doesn't work, I would test childs. But one of those two will work.
Okay, so it has to be the thing with an S or without.
Has many, pluralizes, belongs to, singularizes. So I was wrong. It's a good thing I tested. It's a good thing I tested.
So if you would name your class something weird, even though you shouldn't, obviously, like if you like just sticking an S at the end would make it work. Like it's how you do it.
No, you would run pluralize or singularize and see what active record spits back. We can work on that offline. I think you're digging really in the weeds, and that's not important at the moment.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, how come we've got one folder with the models that just sort of like sets up the process? Sorry. And then we got this other, what is it called?
Very good.
And then we got this other thing like DB migrate. Why don't we just combine these two files if they're both sort of in Ruby dealing with?
Oh, we did combine the files. Remember when I had you write the here docs and put SQL, and I made you write the SQL, and then I put DB con, and I made you put SQL in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it that way if you want
Well,
to.
I get
Everyone else will be on active record. I promise you.
Okay, but I'm saying, why do we even have these separate files, create squirrels and migrate, that are in migrate? Why don't we just do all this stuff in the models? So,
Oh, I see. You want everything in one large folder and just completely lose organization. I think that it reads easier. That's why. I'm sorry if I'm giving you a hard time. So the reason we do this, right, really and truly, is for organization. Because believe it or not, we're on week 2, right? We're at toward the end of week 2. Our file structure already is getting really large. Once you get to Rails, you will have at least 20 folders with subfolders in them. At least. So if they were all under app, it's going to be really hard to find, I promise you. Because if everything was under this, and I was like, oh, hey, man, can I take a look at your migrations? I'd have to like scroll through all of this to find a migration. But if I know the migration's under DB migrate, I'm just going to go under DB, and I'm going to look under migrate, and I'm going to see them. So it's for organization. In the same way that if you took 10 classes in college, and you put all the notes for all 10 classes in one notebook without any dividers, I mean, good luck studying. You know? Did I answer?
yes, I definitely did.
Cool. I should have done I'll play. Missed my chance. You had a question?
Don't know.
Oh.
Or probably, but it's maybe.
You want to ask again?
Now good.
Okay. All right. So, now that we have the relationship of nest and squirrel, let's finish the rest of them, right? What is the last model we were looking for?
Trees.
Wow. Just when I thought I was losing you. Huh? I love it. Actually, this one's not great. Look up, look up, look up, look up. Oops. Right? Cool. So, I have this model I created, right? Let's just say I'm not sure of that relationship yet. I will build it later. First, I need this migration. Yeah? I need the tree table to exist. So, how do I make the tree table? Rake DB migrate? Cool. Nice. And what am I making here? Tree or trees?
Trees.
Nice. Morning. Right? Ah, sometimes you get lazy. Look. All right, what's this? And what does tree know about? Okay. Yeah. So remember, pluralize. It's a string. Let's just put a name for tree. All right. Do you guys want to go really hard? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now that the migration has been created, what should we do?
Run a test.
We should test, right? Let's check the schema. What do we have? Is the tree in there? No. So we should run that migration. Break DB. What is it? They're on it. Cool. That looked good. Check my schema. What version I'm on, right? So 185.009. Cool. 009 is my last migration, right? So I know I'm on the latest one, and it's good. Quick visual representation of my entire database. So what now? Oh, snap. Boop. Just kidding. Ha 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 ha. Joke's on you. So now I want to test, right?
I have a quick question. It's listed, so in the schema, it's not listed in the order that you created it.
That is correct. It is not necessarily going to be listed in the order I created it in.
It looks alphabetical.
I'll play. Miriam is alphabetical. Okay, cool. It just looks like a pattern, so it looks like a great assumption. As you make more migrations, you'll probably figure it out. Yeah.
I have a question.
This is the part where you ask a question. Yeah.
So, do we need to do anything to the migration of nest now since we have a tree? We have squirrel ID.
Interesting that you say that. Check it out. So this was the original question, right? So we have tree. Yeah. Do we have tree.new? Sure. And what does it need? And what kind of tree do we want? Did you say Pokemon tree? Okemon? Yeah, the Okemon tree, right? That's good. Is it in my database? So if I exit and come back and look for this tree, will it be there?
No.
Very good. The data was not persisted, right? So, right? Yeah, boom. Cool. Okemon exists. Gotta catch them all. Yeah.
Is it like a better practice to like make a new one and then save it, or is create mine, or is it situation?
It is better practice to make a new one and then save it as a general statement for best practice, because you will want to eventually check certain things, right? Like, for example, do I want 2 Okemon tree? No. So I want to make sure I go through tree.all, look through the names, and make sure that that array is what? Length is always 1. Something like that, right? And then, if that's true, then I'll hit save or something. But for right now, when you're just creating your test data, all your seed data, I would just do create. So best practice is new, then save. But for the purposes right now, because you're not doing many validations, you just create them. Cool? Questions, comments, concerns? Okemon? Awesome. So now the question is, how do I put the foreign key of tree into my nest, right? How do I do that? Because I need that, right? Now that the tree exists, I need that many to many, and that many to many, that join table must know about what? You guys are saying a lot of weird things. Just answer the question, right? The join table must know about what? Sure. It needs to know about the other 2 models, which happen to be squirrel and tree in this case, right? So I need to add in squirrel and tree. Can I just add it in right here? Just right now? Why? So because I already migrated it, no matter what, even if I were to change this, right, like t.integer, and I would have put tree ID, right? if I were to do something like this, like, oh, let me just migrate, it's going to be like, cool, man. Cool. Why? So how can I test to see what happened? Is it there? No. It's going to check the version. And then it's going to go, which one in this order is the version that I'm on? If it's on the last one, it's going to be like, oh, cool, ran that migration, ran that migration, ran that migration. Boom, done. And it will never look back at the old ones ever again. Just like you should. Don't look in the past. Yeah? Always toward the future. So I can roll it back, right? I can roll it back because right now I just have 3 migrations. I don't even have a ton of seed data. I don't even have a lot of data in my database. All right, so what's really going to happen? What's the worst that can happen? Not much. I can roll it back. But interestingly enough, I want to show you something. If I made a change to the file, right? That's not going to work. It's going to work for this one. It did how many? How many did it roll back? Guatemala, all right? Should not have rolled back nests. Mike, nothing?
Oh, it's because it just needs to drop the table. It's not checking the column. If you were altering the columns.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Embarrassing. So, how do I phrase this without getting too ahead of myself? It basically just dropped the table, right? Because in this particular one, all I did was create the table. If I'm doing something else, right? Remember I talked about up and down, like adding a particular column or deleting a particular column? If I change the migration file and I roll it back, it can cause errors. In this particular case, it didn't because all I'm doing is creating. Right? If you're falling asleep, just I would recommend you do yourself a favor and try to wake yourself up, stand up, do something. But if you want to sleep, the labs are going to be hard. So all I did was drop, right? So now I can check the schema, and I still have squirrels. So I can now do what? Welcome, Sal. Cool. And how do I test? Look at my schema, and there it is. There she blows. It's right there. Yeah? This right here is very hacky, and it is not best practice. This is not what you want to do. So I will show you the correct answer. So we're going to roll back again. Roll back. And I'm going to show you where we were, and that was right here. That was hacky, and that's not the right answer. So this is where we were, right? What you're supposed to do is anytime you want to change something in the database, change a column, add a table, you must make a new migration. You must make a new migration. And so here's how we'll do it. We'll do it together because a lot of you have asked me, what do I Google? And I'm like, I'll play. I want to add a column, right? Because I want to add that new foreign key to my Nest class, right? Add column, and what am I doing it in? Ruby, SQL, Active Record, Rails, Python. Cool, let's Google it together. Add column. Great. So it looks like I just run in here, add column. I give it the table name, the column name, and the type. And these are optional params I can put in a hash. Cool. Cool. So, straight from the docs. Bloop. Bloop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called break db. And what did I say I have to do? All right, and the name is going to be add what? Tree ID to nests. These names at this point are for you. you want to be able to look at all your migrations and see very quickly what it is that they're doing. There is no hard and fast rule for the naming convention for migrations. All right? They're just for you. So that being said, I made this file. What you want in the future, and you can imagine you had to build all the models for the discussion question this morning. You'd have at least 6, 7 migrations. At least. All right? And that's just setting it up. You could see probably in the future, the last app I worked with, I think the migration file was like 90 something. Like 90 something migration files. I want to be able to look at this and go, all right, I made the squirrel table, nest table, cool. Oh, I forgot to add the foreign key to nest. Got it. Oh, it's because I made the trees after the nest. This is a many-to-many. I need to add the foreign key. I could see very quickly in my migrations what I was doing, what happened. So I could see which migration maybe broke my database. So, straight from the docs. That wasn't it. That was not from the docs. Cool. Oops. Cool, cool. Right? Yeah? Yes, no? Maybe so? So what table do I want to add this to? And what's the column name? And what is it? Do I want options? Pass. Can you? Hilarious. Oh, that's embarrassing. How do I fix this? An error has occurred. This and all later migrations canceled. Oh, do I have to do this? Let's find out. Bloop, bloop. Nope, it didn't like that either. So, what did I do wrong? Yeah, I didn't read it, right? But this is what winds up happening, right? So I want to show you, like, the right way to handle this. And it's not flip out, right? So maybe this wasn't the right solution. I can go back. I can do maybe the next one. I can do search for, what is that I want to do? Okay. Cool. Oh, whoa. Embarrassing, all right? So I can compare. What is it that's different here? All right? Remember, there's no real difference between this. So Ruby, actually, if you're passing in arguments, you don't need the parentheses. This is like the stickler tried and true way where you're passing in arguments in the bananas. I call parentheses bananas. It's a weird thing I do. But yeah. So I found another resource that could have possibly helped me. Let's see if that works. Cool. That's how I Google things. That's what that looks like. Any questions on Google? All right. And that's basically what that looks like. How can I verify? And now it's there. Yeah? And I could tell it was there, not because I hacked it, but because 190.028, it ran this migration. Yeah? So now I want to finish my relationship, right? Let's talk about squirrels, right? Whoops, talking about squirrels. Has many nests, right? And what else does it have? What? Has what? Right. But what did I keep saying about the join table? It only knows about it what? Something like, sorry. I think that's the syntax. So, it has many trees through nests. I don't say these words because they're weird, although I do say a lot of weird things. I'm trying to like ingrain to you the vernacular because that's going to set you up for success in the future. When I said join table, right, like it didn't really make sense, but it's because I was trying to lead you up to this. When I say that has many belongs to, and it only knows it through this is what I'm trying to set you up for. All right? Hopefully this will click for you. So I should be able to see all the trees for that squirrel. I could open up a rate console. I could do that. But what do I accidentally sometimes call? We don't have it in here, right? Let's find out. We do have seed. Interesting. All right. So, what do I call my test data sometimes by accident? Or accident. I call it my seed data, right? So, in my DB folder, it must be some sort of file called seeds.rb. So, let's take a look. I have in my DB folder, is there a seeds file? Let's make it. Just so you can actually see it. Look up. Seeds.rb. So I'm in the seeds.rb folder inside my DB, right? It's not in migrate. It's in DB. Yeah? Cool. So let's do it. Let's make a couple squirrels. And what do they need? What kind of name? Jerry Gergich. And what else do we want? See, this is why I didn't want to go hard.
Black.
Go hard. What? Black?
Yeah. There are black squirrels.
There are. I've seen them. Only in New York City. They're very weird.
Maryland. Maryland campus.
Okay, I guess I was wrong. They're outside New York. Did Mike show you Faker?
Yeah.
Cool. You guys want to use Faker?
Yeah.
Yeah, Faker's bomb. How would I use Faker? Who remembers? Me too. Yep. Cool. Right. And then in my seeds file, I need what? Faker. Right. So instead of Jerry, because Jerry's a cool name. Is anyone named Jerry or know anyone named Jerry?
Yeah.
It is a very cool name. Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm calling the Faker gem. All right? What are you laughing for? Don't ask me why I've got this committed to memory. What did I do? But in case you forgot, how would I figure this out? Wow, what a great friend. Hey, Google, what's up? Great, me too. What do you mean this weekend? Oh, what's that? Cool. If I forgot how to use it, there's like documentation. All right, oops, there's documentation. All right, cool. Cool. Right now I'm looking for a color. So, Faker color. Right? Faker.color. I want the color name. Bloop, 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 bloop. Cool. Everyone not see how I did that? All right, cool. So because it's going to give me random data, I can just do bloop, 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 right? And then I can do what else? Nests. I want to make a nest now. Remember, nest is the join table. So what needs to exist? Cool. Tree.create. Yeah? And what does it need?
Is there a faker?
Is there a faker for trees? No, but there are cool things faker can do. Like, look.
I think there's
Cat? Who said that?
cannabis.
Nah, I'm gonna vote cat. All right, unless someone else. Oh, Buffy. Oh, damn. Yes. Tree names. Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Perfect tree names. Love it. Cool. So we can also make nests, right? But this one's a little bit interesting. Right? Do I want to hard code IDs in here? What do I do with the drunken sailor?
Well, I would make those the variables and the variables.
You want to put these variables in here?
I would make a label that has variables like S1.
You would?
Put those in there.
Interesting.
Seems like a
What? What's the plan here? Let's test our problem solving. What do we have access to all the time?
Database.
Yes, we do. We have access to all of them all the time. And each one of them,
sample.
randomly, and each one of those has a
OD?
ODB.
Yep. Hey, squirrely, baby, I got your money, don't you worry. Right? So we can probably do this. That way, if I happen to delete squirrel ID 1, it don't matter. It's not going to matter because I'm going to pull from anyone that currently exists. Yeah? So I want to show you something. Cool. So what is the command to maybe actually run all my seeds? Run all my test data? Right? So let's do that. Stop the madness. Is Buffy busted?
Maybe it's
Buffy might be busted. Sometimes when you get these, it's because Faker's bad.
It might be available in the next version.
Oh, I know why. Because I added a new gem to the gem file. Oops, I added a new gem to the gem file. All right, and then what do you do to get all the gems inside your gem file? What is that thing that handles all your gems? I didn't install the new gem, so. Oh wait, there it is. Boom, cool. Let's find out. You're a punk, Mr. Grinch. Maybe an old faker. Nope. Sorry, Buffy.
It says it might be available in the next version.
Sorry, Buffy.
check marks.
Is this what we're going with? This is what my life's come to. These are facts. I need names, people. I need names. Lucky there's a Family Guy. Cool. All right. Clowns. You guys are fun. Seed that database. Cool. Here's the weird thing. It doesn't tell you anything. Right? It's like, hey, you want to see that database? Thanks. That was not useful. So here's a little trick, right? I put something like this. I do this. Puts making squirrels in the factory. And then I do something like puts or p, because I'm lazy, and they are different. Squirrels done. Oops. And then I put tree time. All right, and then I put trees done. Right? Nests. I'm lazy, right? So end done. Just like you could see, I just stopped caring after a while, right? This is good developer here. So here's the deal, all right? If I ever make an error, right? Like let's just say instead of create, I put like create. Hopefully, it'll tell me. So this is what'll happen. Look, squirrel's done, tree time, and then it breaks. I can see where it breaks and what is happening in conjunction with an error message. And that is going to help me with my seed data, yeah? So if I do this again, oops. Oh. I exited terminal. Y'all never did that? Y'all never did that before?
Yeah.
All right, let's find out. Where am I going? CD into Flatiron School. And I think I have your class in here, 0827. And then I think this is, I want to say 09. 08. Okay, great. Cool. Little plus action. All right, can you see that? Command I want to make sure I get the color back. Bloop. Is that cool? And then little keyboard shortcut. Cool. Just like that. And then now, like never missed a beat. Seed that database. Now this is like a little bit more understanding. Like it seeded all my stuff, right? So I can always go into my what? To test. Right? Those are cool. Those are cool tree names. Whoa, I made a lot. Right? What about Ness? Those are regular squirrel names. Huh? Look, Olive, right? Very classy. Anyways, back on track, right? What we're trying to do, we're trying to test this. I want to see the squirrel. Ugh. The first one, I want to see its nests, right? I get that, except that scree has no nests. Okay, let's try again. That's what happens when you do random, right? Just whatever. I could do what? Maybe this. Just kidding. I think I'm typing that wrong, right? Many to many? Let's just make sure. How would I verify that? I'm doing something else? I do, yeah. But if I wanted to make sure the syntax was correct, what am I doing here? Something about like, I kind of know, right? Like I need a has many through active record. Like I kind of know what I'm doing. Wow. The has many through association. Let's take a look. Yeah, I did it correctly. There's like a comma. The through is here. There's this, and there's this, right? So I'll explain. Bloop. The comma, the through, the nest, yeah. With the through association, I think it needs to be completed on both ends. Otherwise, it will break. Yeah? So let's do it. What is nest? To what? Cool. And then with tree? Has many what? Has many nests or squirrels? All right. Let's try this, right? Whoops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Right? And then has many what? And you said they had the squirrels what? So, I will tell you, this will break. And it will break because it's going to look for squirrels through nests. Was nests ever defined on line 1 and 2? No. Nests only exists on line 3. What it's saying is it's going to look for all the squirrels through the nests. It's going to go into nests, and then in nests, it's looking for something called squirrel. So in nest, it's looking for something called squirrel, and then it's going to return.
Does it have to be singular?
Has many is pluralized. Through is the table I want to match, so it must.
How about in the column before in the school? The one next time.
Belongs to tree. Belongs to a tree.
Okay.
Yeah? So, let's find out. Ugh. Oh. Did I mean entries? No. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it is. Nests is an array. Actually, it's not an array. It is something more important than that. It is what? An active record collection. I want to talk to you for 2 seconds about an interesting phenomenon that happens in computer programming. It's called duck typing. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. What that means is, what does this look like with these square brackets? An array. Very likely, I can probably call array methods on it. Don't be surprised if certain array methods don't work and it breaks. And you're like, why? I'm trying to call an array method on an array. Always check the class. This is not, in fact, an array. So some array methods may not work, right? But some do. So double check the data structure you're manipulating, yeah? All right. Hopefully you remember that. I can't call a method on an array like nests. I have to call it on the actual object. Then I can call nests. That's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say. It said, did you mean? I sure did. And there it is. I can see this squirrel, right? All of its nests, the tree that I have in that nest, which tree it is. I don't have to do all that, I have to select through and then map through. Do you remember that? Built for you.
So I have a quick question. All of that is for pulling class methods. So how would you call it? Would you be able to do that on a specific?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm calling on the class, but look what I'm doing. I'm saying treat out first. This is the actual instance. All right. So I can also do, if I wanted to go super roundabout, and get that evil monkey. You know what I'm saying?
So you could also do like, you could also set it as like tree T1, like the tree, and then do the same thing. And then do the same thing.
Yep. So let's do it, right? What are the nests? Cool. Let me take that first nest. All right. Now I'm in the nest object, and I want to know what squirrely squirrels are in there. Oh, what's that? And what's the name? Bam. Rebecca Mayer. That's actually one of the more boring names. I'm surprised everyone laughed. Normally I get something wild.
She's plump.
Did you just assume that squirrel's gender? Yeah? Any questions on active record, the many-to-many, has many, belongs to, migrations, adding migrations, altering your migrations with new migrations, and seeding that database? That was a lot. I didn't answer your many-to-many? Ask it again.
If you have the relationship where it has many on both sides with no join table, what do?
Oh, you have a many-to-many with no join table. Let me just go back to last week, Thursday. If you have a many-to-many, you need a join table. So you'll never have a many-to-many without join table.
Wasn't the first lab we did with like companies and investors many without a joint?
Absolutely. And how well did that scale, and how easy was that to see, and how well did that work out for you? Very good. Any questions on active record? Thank you for your time.